Jam! Hello again and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 466 of the Mana Pool, and we're doing something that we don't usually do.
Wear pants.
That is accurate. But that's not it. But first, we should introduce ourselves. I am Chewy, the lead dork, and the guy who is the lead dork. I have nothing. I don't know.
I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler and tangent master of the group. And I guess Mike's not going because I usually say more, but
yeah, quite a lot more.
More.
All right, I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy. And it's true. I'm wearing pants, and they're all buttoned and zipped up, and they look pretty nice.
That's hot.
Thank you.
Like Brian's sister.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greatest man alive and moral compass of the group, and totally shaking my head at this conversation.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. It's been a long time, so I had to throw that out there. To be fair, though, Mike, you wearing pants that look nice is nowhere near as hot as Brian's sister.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We here at the Mana Pool have been playing Magic we've been podcasting about Magic for over 9 years. We've played Magic we played Magic together since... Why can I never remember this? Onslaught
2003?
2002.
Yeah, the fall of 2002 is when I showed up.
Yeah. And Mike has been playing Magic. Mike and I played Magic longer than that. Mine had a big gap in it. But I think all of us have been video gamers for way longer than that, right?
Right.
Yep.
Huh. Maybe.
Because I started with the Nintendo Entertainment System. Nowadays, some people call it the NES. I just call it the Nintendo. But when I was like 6 or 7, something like that, and I've been playing games my whole life. For the longest time, they were my release. They were how I dealt with stress. I'd go play video games for a while and calm down. So they've been and now it's part of what I do for a living.
Yeah, we didn't have a console, a big console in the house until I was in high school. But I'm trying to think. I think I did have my Game Boy before I learned how to play Magic. So okay.
See, there you go.
I definitely have been playing video games way longer than I played card games. I didn't even know card games existed whenever I started playing.
I don't think that when I started playing video games, there was no such thing as a collectible card game.
Well, right. Because Magic was the first, right?
Was either the first or one of the first. Well,
first big one. Well, yeah. I think it was. Well, now I'm not sure.
Well, not including some of the more
obscure ones.
I was going to say more from antiquity and not the 20th century.
Well, those aren't collectible card games. Those are traditional card games.
Okay.
Anyway, we're getting to the point, I assure you, we're just not very good at it.
It's true.
Yeah,
we've always been bad at that game.
Yes. So this episode, the thing that we're doing that we don't usually do is we are being timely. Because today, on June 7th, 2017, so look at when you downloaded this and you'll see how long it takes for an episode to get out to the general public. Today, it was revealed that there is a Magic the Gathering massively multiplayer online role-playing game, or an MMO RPG, or just an MMO.
Or Mamorpaga.
A Mamorpaga, if you're a fan of... is that Yahtzee?
Yes.
Yeah. But there is a Magic MMO in the works, an MTG MMO, if you will, by Cryptic Studios. And go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, Cryptic Studios, in case you're like, why does that sound familiar? Cryptic Studios first came into the public eye, as far as I know, because of City of Heroes.
Oh, dude, that was a pretty good game. I never played it, but I heard very, very good things about it.
Yeah.
That one lasted for a long time, too, didn't it?
Yeah.
I guess. Let's see, about 10 years, yeah.
For a game that's not World of Warcraft, that's ridiculous.
It says Paragon Studios ceased operation when NCSoft closed the game in 2012, and it came out in 2004. So yeah, it lasted like 8 years. Or maybe, yeah, and then in 2005 it launched City of Villains. So yeah. They did Champions Online, which has since gone free to play. They're most known for Star Trek Online and the Neverwinter MMOs. That's what they do, by the way. They make MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
So this is old hat for them.
Yeah, and they're all free to play. At least the ones that are still the ones that I just rattled off: Star Trek, Neverwinter, and I think Champions is still a thing. I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, they're all free to play with microtransactions and whatnot, I assume. I don't actually know how free to play MMOs work because I've never played any, so my bad. But this is only a small part of what this episode's going to be about, but this was the genesis of it, was this announcement, and the massive amount of negative response that this got on social media.
Before we get into the negativity, we were sitting at dinner and I told Carrie about the announcement because I heard about it from Chewy. And I said, now take a look at my face because I want you to remember what I look like. I have never let myself, since EverQuest, I have never let myself play an MMORPG. Even when I was in law school and a friend of mine was into World of Warcraft, I didn't let myself do it because I love RPGs, and the thought of an RPG that just doesn't end. I mean, the only reason that I stopped playing EverQuest is because my old computer couldn't handle the expansion. So maybe that was for the best. So now you're telling me I'm more up to date on computers and hardware. You're telling me there's a Magic MMORPG coming up. Yeah, I guess I should get all my affairs in order because I don't know that you're going to see me again. So I just want to say that.
Brian already has a serious problem with free-to-play games.
Yep.
Which, if this becomes a free-to-play game, we might actually never see Brian again.
Brian who?
Didn't we have a co-host on the show? Like, he had an adorable daughter. You mean Dirk? No, the other one.
He did the Mord Libs.
Yeah, that guy.
He can still be hooked into Discord while he's playing. He can still record with us that way.
That's true.
That is true. We got there.
Random words will be popping out of his mouth and be like,
No, cast, damn it.
DPS. So when you hear about something like that, my first reaction is, that's cool. And if it's not cool, I guess I won't play it. Next.
Yeah, like, I understand people who are invested in a thing not being interested when that goes to something else. Like, I was a fan of the Walking Dead comic books for actual years. And then they announced, the AMC is doing a TV show. And I was like, don't care. It's probably going to suck. Because there's no way they can capture what makes this book so good on a show on AMC. What the hell? So I just didn't watch it. And then someone was like, hey, we're going to the premiere of the second season at a theater. You should go with us. I was like, I didn't watch the first season. She was like, it's 6 episodes. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. And I was like, fine. So I watched the first 6 episodes, went to watch the premiere of the second season, and got hooked for like 3 or 4 seasons. Something like that. Like, it's a thing. When Scott lived here, he and I would sit and like watch it. And if Scott wasn't around that night, I would just wait and we would watch it when it showed again later. Like, it was a thing Scott and I did, was watch Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I did the same thing with The Preacher. They're turning Preacher into a show. Well, that's probably going to suck because I love Preacher. And I have yet to watch it, but apparently it's not bad. I don't know. So I can understand the, not for me, it's probably going to suck. Like, I get it. But there's a big difference between that and hitting social media and railing against it and, screaming at Blizzard for Wizards for... So I looked over and saw Blizzard on my desktop. Let me move something on top of that. There we go. But like screaming at Wizards because, well, how come Magic Online still sucks? These are not related. Shut your stupid cake hole.
That has one has nothing to do with the other.
So, like, I want to start with, I don't know where to start. This is going to be completely freeform and open and not planned. The things I want to hit are the negativity that is coming out of this, and why people might react that way, and why that's not a thing that you should be doing. In my opinion, maybe yours. I don't know. You guys might agree, and you're wrong, and it's fine. And also, I want to talk about all the things that Wizards is doing lately to expand the brand of Magic. And not just lately, but in the past. There's a whole mess of things that they've done that are both really cool and really freaking dumb.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we should talk about, I guess, the MMO itself. Like, the MMO genre has never interested me, so this will probably be one that I just sort of bypass. But,
Okay.
You know.
Well, so where do you want to start? That's a free range of topics, sure.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. How do you want to do this?
Why don't we start by talking about the MMORPG, because that's where we got started.
Word.
And then we can kind of go into the response and why that may or may not be a good thing. So I have very little experience with MMORPGs, having only really played EverQuest. I've enjoyed RPGs for a long time. But Dirk here, unless Mike is playing something that I'm not aware of, I think Dirk is probably our resident expert on MMORPGs. Dirk, as someone that plays them on a semi-regular basis, why don't we say this? What is something that you think that is unique to Magic, the Gathering, that you would love to see incorporated into an MMORPG if you were going to play it?
Well, to start with, so the company that they're going with, Scientix, is that what it is?
Cryptic.
Right. Cryptic. I actually played Star Trek Online when it first came out, and the way they did it, like I played it for probably about 3 months, and I played it instead of WoW, which at that time was a big deal because that was before I had kids, so I was huge into WoW at the time. And so I took some time off to play this one because I really liked Star Trek. And the one thing that I really liked about it is that there were two sides, just like sort of like in WoW and everything. And you could customize your character. And you really could do whatever you wanted with the character in terms of loadout and everything. And there was sort of a leveling system to move up to bigger ships and do all this. The one thing that they did that I think would be really good to do in it is maybe choose choose a color potentially. I think that
as almost like an alliance kind of thing.
Right. The problem is that and this is a big thing with MMOs, is if everyone starts off at the same spot, as in, all right, everyone starts off on the same plane.
Mm-hmm.
When 100,000 people log in at the same time to the exact same spot, because Cryptic does not have different servers.
They don't?
When I played Star Trek Online, there were not multiple servers. Everyone played on the same server, but because everybody was at different places in terms of their progress through the game, not everybody was in the same spot at the same time. So it didn't tax the load in that particular area. But yes, I would be doing a mission on a planet. I would be the only ship, and then just out of the blue, like 8 ships would magically show up out of nowhere, ranging from level 5 me's all the way up to people flying Defiance, which were like top level ships at that time. And so
well, maybe it's something where you could kind of create your character and they would send you to a particular plane. And with all the planes that are out there, certainly there's a lot of different places for people to be. Go ahead.
My thought would be that starting off with, you would pick a color. That would be your main color, and then you potentially could somehow level your character in such a way that there's a branching tree where you can either go your color, sort of like a leveling tree, experience tree, something of that sort, where you can stay monocolored through the tree, or you can branch into allied colors or into enemy colors. And you can go as many colors as you want with the leveling tree, but you start off monocolored.
That makes sense.
And by starting off monocolored, you start in one of 5 planes.
Okay.
Maybe it's the home plane of the main Planeswalker.
Would there
And
be
then as you level up, you get the ability to planeswalk to another plane. And then those planes have progressive levels attached to them with progressive storylines.
Okay. I like that. And you could see, don't they do like events and things in WoW where they have like limited time equipment or something like that?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, there's holiday events.
Okay.
And
so what if Magic Online? Oh, I shouldn't say that. What if
Magic the MMO?
Magic the MMO had like a week where, or maybe more like a month where it's the Inventors Fair on Kaladesh, and so there's special events going on that plane.
And see, that's a wonderful idea for what they can do. Is that maybe each month, maybe there's 12 planes. And you know, some of those might be the starter planes. Some of them might be, this is Ravnica is the, let's say the level is 1 through 60. Ravnica is the 10 through 20 plane. So you run through story elements that take you through those levels. But then, you would go back to that plane to visit for some sort of event that's going on 2 weeks out of this month.
Sure.
And so on and so forth, just so you could, and that's sort of, again, the thing with why one of the cool things with WoW is that there's events, like there's, right now it's the Midsummer Festival. So at the different capitals there, you go and you light a bonfire, and there's a bonfire in every single one of the major, of the smaller cities, Horde or Alliance, there's little bonfires, and you can either light the fires or try and put out the fire of the opposing faction. And they're on all of the different areas, from the vanilla WoW regions all the way up through the Legion areas, which is the most recent expansion areas. So that's going on right now. And unfortunately, I didn't get very far into the Old Republic to know if there were any specific events. I just know that there was a bunch of expansions that went with it, but I don't think there were any sort of holiday events or anything like that. And I definitely didn't stick around with Star Trek Online to find out if there were holiday events.
I'm just thinking
when you mentioned holiday events, it makes I thought of one of the holidays on Ravnica. It doesn't actually have a fixed day. It's a Gruul holiday called Rokchav, I think it's what it's called.
Yeah.
And basically, whenever someone feels like making mischief, they decide, okay, it's Rokchav now, and then anyone Gruul in the area will just start running around, breaking stuff and pushing people into ditches and turning over merchants' tables. And it's Rokchav.
We could have a month on Amonkhet where you get to go and sacrifice your character to a god.
Yeah, wait.
Mike, did you read the story today?
Yes, I did.
Wow, that's all I can say.
I'm really wondering if the Gatewatch is going to just freaking lose big time.
I think there's a good chance. And I really liked how at the beginning of the story, it kind of, I had to stop reading and go back and read it again because I didn't realize what was happening until basically when it was taking place. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. So, okay. Anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time to that. Yeah. Yes, I'm done. Now, in the article here that Chewy's provided us a link to, taking an IP and making it your own, the CEO for Cryptic mentions in this quote on the sidebar, "My intent is to go forward with a Magic game that is not about the card game. It's about jumping into the world and the fiction of Magic the Gathering." And I like that because on one hand, I think some people have an expectation of, well, maybe we'll see iconic spells and things like that. And maybe I think it'd be cool to, have Lightning Bolt and other iconic spells. I don't know how I feel about like Path to Exile. That seems a little too good. But at the same time, this is more about the flavor of it, because if you feel like you're a slave to the device, like, oh, it's based on cards, it must have cards or something like that, then I think that's a trap. At the same time, I don't want it to feel like this is every other MMO RPG, but it just happens to be set in the fiction of Magic. I want it to
you don't
feel
want WoW skinned with magic.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be like Minecraft skinned with magic. What's that?
We'll get to that shortly.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is with it that you don't want it to be a clone of something else. There needs to be some sort of element to it. And actually having the MMO maybe with a card element to it, where as you complete quests in an area, you gain cards of that plane, and then those cards can be played on your character, and they gain that ability for an instant, or maybe they gained it for an hour or something like that. Like I could see a sorcery.
So maybe like you were talking about a branching skill tree earlier. Mm-hmm. Maybe there are places on that skill tree that aren't fixed, but you fill in with things you collect in the different worlds too.
And I like that a lot. I like that a lot because one of the main things they have always said about Planeswalkers, especially since the mending, is post-mending Planeswalkers are not just like these godlike beings. The reason that they are more powerful than your average mage is not just because they have more magical power like Nicol Bolas, but a lot of them are able to do the things that they do because they have the experience of being able to go these different places and learn different spells and different ways of utilizing their magic.
Yeah, and a thing we've learned throughout the years is that magic, the concept, like the ability to use mana to cast spells and stuff, works differently from plane to plane to plane.
Yes. And because a lot of Planeswalkers are inherently summoners, not every single one like Gideon, but a lot of them use summoning as a trick. And I think that's a way of tying in the cards to the story, because a Planeswalker that's been to different places and has formed bonds with different creatures is able to be more versatile. Like when Kiora went to Theros strictly for the purpose of taming that giant Leviathan, and she ended up with a Bident as a consolation prize, but that's why she was there. And Liliana, of course, can summon zombies, although necromancy and summoning is a little different. But we've seen it play out in the stories. And in the novels in various ways. Jace has summoned illusions. Garrick has summoned beasts. And I think in the Theros novels, Elspeth summoned a couple things that she'd seen elsewhere, like in Archon and other things. So you don't want every class to feel like it's got pets, but there's at least some expectation there of making summoners available. So
I think the whole gist of what we're saying here is that it needs to have some sort of hook that sets it apart from
everything else,
the swath of other MMOs out there, and also attracts both Magic players already, because let's face it, the core audience of this game is going to be Magic players.
Yeah.
But it also attracts people that aren't Magic players, so it can't be so Magic that only we'll get it. We need the muggles to understand what the deal is. Like, I have never played Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, any of that. And yet I play Hearthstone and love it. And I've recently become hooked on Heroes of the Storm, despite my best interests, or my best efforts to not.
It's complete.
And they just announced, for instance, that Malthael is the next character, or the next hero. And I don't know who Malthael is. I've never played Diablo 3 or the expansion. So I have no idea. But he's so cool looking, and his abilities are so neat that I'm like, I can't wait to try this guy.
Yeah.
Angel.
Should be up next week, I think. That's usually the timetable.
And, like, that's the point.
And you don't know anything about him from a lore standpoint.
Yeah, I know what was written in the quick little announcement, and I know what they said in the hero profile video.
Well, yeah, but you haven't
played.
You haven't played, like you said, you haven't played Diablo 3.
Yeah.
So,
like, I don't know. Okay, I know a little bit about Ragnaros because of that April episode that we did where Dirk explained the whole Blackrock Mountain thing to us. but he's one of my favorite cards in Hearthstone, and he's on the free-to-play rotation in Heroes of the Storm, and he's one of my favorite characters to play there just because he's fun.
He is fun.
Mhm.
And
I'm a building now.
And that's that's what they need to do. They need to find a way to hook people that don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played Warcraft, Warcraft 2, and Warcraft 3, as well as the StarCrafts, but I've never played World of Warcraft. I did not see the Warcraft movie, but I love Hearthstone because I enjoy card games and it's fun to play.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there really is a lot that they can do with this game that can incorporate Magic, not just the story, but can incorporate some of the cards, some of the mechanics, some of the stuff. And the thing they need to try and do with this is they need to make it so that you as a planeswalker are unique. Because one of the main problems with WoW right now is if I play a mage, and a mage, there's 3 classes, and Brian's already mentioned that they're healer, there's DPS, and there's a tank. Tank is the guy who runs into battle, says blah, 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 and everyone attacks him. The DPS is the guy in the back who's like pew 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 and says, "Don't come after me, pew pew pew." And the healer's just going, "Okay, stay with me here. Stay with me here. Stay with me.
Nobody dies.
Nobody dies. Nobody dies." That sort of thing. That's their job. And because of that, if you choose a class, you're going to fall into one of those 3. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. If I'm a mage, I'm DPS. I am not a tank. I am not a healer. You fall right into one of those classes. But with a Magic game like this, it's sort of like the Elder Scrolls Online, where I played that and I'm going, I have no idea what my character is because I have no backstory I have no background in terms of the game. And yes, I have played a little bit of it. And my character just I just take him and I go and I have fun with him. And that's what this needs to be is they need to have this so that you can customize this character so that even if everybody is playing, let's just say what we've said so far, that you're going red. And with red, you could do direct damage, you could do summoning elementals, you could do that you're a warrior who's an aggro, who just casts aggro spells that says, I'm going to come after you, and bam, 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 bam. There's so many things you can do in red that feels red in Magic.
You could even do something like disruption, because red has that thing where this can't block this turn. Mm-hmm. And that could translate into disrupting combat somehow.
Your character, when you run in, you get the first hit, which would be the haste characteristic.
I want to be the mad hermit, and I'll just go from plane to plane and say, the end is coming, and look crazy, and then leave.
So, there is, and again, there could be elements of, you go to Mirrodin, and you're able to, you walk in and then you can grab all these equipments, and maybe, there's little orbs or, capsules that you can pick up. And that way, when you go to, say, Kamigawa, now you've got all this gear. So now you can pick up and you get attuned to maybe the Kami. So you can graft some equipment onto your Kami, who's now your companion when you go. There's so much stuff that's
your little pet thing.
Yeah. Right. So that now, okay, so this is what I'm doing. So when you go to, say, Ravnica or Domineer or whatnot, you've got your guy decked out so that when you go to these ones, you're like, ooh, I really like that. And whenever you're going to ones, that there be, like we said, I don't want to say gear, I want to say spells. Well, that you can drop into your, like we were saying about a tree, like a spell tree, that you drop them into this and it says, okay, instead of only getting 1 elemental as a buddy, now you can get 3 that are with you for 20 seconds that can help you in combat. There's so much stuff you can personalize with this game that that's the route they need to go.
Yeah. I'm looking,
and that way, whenever you do face, you get random loot drop, and the loot drop drop stuff that you can personalize to you. You know, maybe there's 5 different types of things that get dropped. One is minions, one is equipment, one is, you know, enchantment spells. There's so much stuff they can do, and that I think is the route they should go.
A little further down in the article, he mentions we always try to look for what are the essential or core elements that make that IP or intellectual property sing. In Star Trek Online, it was trying to make Starship Combat feel amazing, like you experienced being a captain. In Neverwinter, it was about being able to take those D&D stories people have heard and those many hundreds of novels out there and let them jump into that world and be those characters using all the MMO tropes. In the Magic game, our goal is to let people be a planeswalker, just like it says right there on the back of every package they ever print, quote, "You are a planeswalker," end quote. And that is a very good thing for me to read. That is very encouraging to read, because I want them to grasp what is the core of being a planeswalker. And if they're already thinking in that direction, that's good. Not, oh, I want to relive this great Magic story. It sounds nice, but no, really, what is it about this game that draws people in? So,
yeah, and hello. Okay,
sorry,
I heard an echo.
Hello.
Yeah, I leaned back in my chair and I inadvertently slightly disconnected my headphones. So
okay.
It should be better now.
That completely threw me, and I don't remember what I was about to say. So yeah, I think it would be really cool. Okay, so let's start with WoW, because it's the only MMO I've ever played, and I only played it for 20 levels, and only because Charity told me to.
Yeah, if you ever are interested in doing a more casual version, just let me know, and we'll go and have fun.
No, it cured me, thanks. But so in WoW, you start off, you pick a server, right?
Right.
And then you pick Horde or Alliance, right?
Right.
And then you pick race.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pick class.
Mm-hmm.
And so the server is sort of irrelevant.
The server breaks up everybody so that not everybody is all on one server where, you know, let's say 7 million play WoW. Not all 7 million people are on one server.
Yeah, exactly.
The servers is basically to make sure the game doesn't crash.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's to say this population can only hold this many people. Here, if you want to get on a server where you can get instantly on, here's a server you can get on.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole point of this is, okay, so the first choice is purely for game stability. That's fine. But the second choice is Alliance. So that immediately splits 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you 2 options. And from there, you have different options available to you. Back in the day, it was a drastically different, because you had witch doctors and paladins, and they didn't have not witch doctor, shaman. They didn't have a equivalent on the other side back in the day, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So then you pick a race, and the race causes different choices to be
where
or
you
not
start
be.
and what base stats you start off with are unique to each group.
Exactly. And some races can't be some classes.
Right.
And then you pick a class from the ones that are available to you in that Alliance or Horde and that race. And then further down, you can specialize your class, right? Like further along in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so just with those initial 3 choices, there are a gazillion different options. And then each one has more options once you get further into the game, because, like I said, your class can be specialized. Now, Magic, I think the easy way to start would be, like Dirk said, pick a color. And then the color gives you a range of, like, races. And then the race gives you a range of classes. Like, they could totally do that same thing that WoW does, and it would be fun and make perfect sense. But then what if there's an option for starting plane? What if, like, everyone doesn't start on Dominaria? What if you could start on, like, here are 5 choices depending on what color you picked? Well, now there are a ridiculous number of options.
Yeah.
Well, the thing too, and since you mentioned that, is that maybe let's just say there are only 12 planes available initially. You could technically start on one of a handful of planes, but there could be areas that are not accessible until you're a certain level.
Exactly. Yeah,
And so
have a
this
bodyguard
allows you to
standing
go
there.
back to an old plane and progress through the storyline there.
Yeah. And it also gives you the option to have, like, instances that happen on other planes. So, like, okay, planeswalk to Amonkhet here. Here's a designated planeswalking spot, or whatever. So, Magic has this... Because of the way Magic's fiction is set up, there's a ridiculous number of options for players, depending on how they build this game, of course, but there's the potential for a ridiculous number of options and locales and things like that. They're only limited by how much they want to throw at players to begin with.
I'm going to be a blue salamander warrior.
And you know what? Go for it. Except not salamanders. They won't be in until the second expansion. Sorry.
Okay.
But and the one thing with like again choosing the different colors and everything is that there can be so many unique creature types for each color. Because I know, like in Star Wars, when I played that, human was either side. No matter what class, you could be a human. No matter what class, no matter what group you were in. Whereas in WoW, if you choose human, only the Alliance has humans.
Yeah.
And even when I played Elder Scrolls Online, human is not like I think there's one faction that has no humans in it. There's no human. They're humanoid, but they're not humans. They're the cats, the lizard people, or they're ogres or elves or something like that.
Yeah. Whoops. I almost broke my whole desk. But yeah, they need to find the balance between enough awesome stuff so that you don't get bored. Players don't get bored, but not so much stuff that new players will be like, geez, I don't know.
Well, the one issue that really just made me say, okay, I'm done with Star Trek Online, had to do with if you wanted to level up, you had to do missions. The problem is that when you decide I'm going to do a mission here, if you're not leveled up far enough, then you can't really move and go explore other areas, other quadrants and whatnot. The problem is that you end up doing the same mission 5 to 10 times. Ugh. And that gets boring. Because at that point, it's, okay, there's going to be 2 ships. One's going to be there. One's going to be there. I have to go take out that one first. Okay, go this way. Pew, pew, pew. Okay, you're dead. Okay, go over here. Pew, pew, pew. You're dead. Okay, I'm going to teleport down to the planet. It's going to be over this way. There's going to be a dude over on here. I have to shoot him first before I can move into the building. That gets very boring. The one good thing about Star Wars and Star Trek is Star Wars had missions, and as you moved into air, there was like, here, kill a bunch of these little creatures here in this area. But there was always this overall mission, the central mission that you were going, and you again had to pick up parts and pieces. Okay, here let's talk to this dude. Okay, you had to go through and do 2 things on your way to go talk to this dude. And then he would say, okay, here's your mission. And he would send you on the central mission, which you would end up doing 3 things along the way to deal this mission and so on and so forth. But there was always an overall direction of you're progressing. You might do a lot of stuff on your way to progressing, but you're doing stuff. Whereas Star Trek Online felt like, I want to go to here, but in order to go to there, I have to do a bunch of random. I have to do the same mission 10 times so my character has enough levels and gear so I can go to there. And that's really what turned me off, is that I was able to level up my ship to get the next level ship to go to the next area. And then when I did, it was, all right, great. Here's this planet. Now you have to do the same thing 10 more times. This mission 10 times so you can level up so you can get the next ship. And at that point I just thought I would rather do WoW. I would rather go back to WoW, where at least I know, because by then that was when Wrath was out and they had the phasing thing, so at least I felt like I was doing something, because when I did this, the environment changed. I was like, wow, we're really working our way up to the Lich King and all that, and so I felt accomplished. Whereas in Star Trek, I did not.
Now, before
And I
anyone,
hope that they don't do that in Magic. That there is a central. We are moving the story. You're doing stuff,
yeah,
and
Now,
you feel like you're working towards a final goal. Where, I think with Star Trek, it didn't really feel like you had a set mission, we're going to go and build a base here, but we need you to go here and collect resources so that we can build the base, sort of thing going on. It was just, all right, go explore. Have fun.
nice.
But do this thing 10 times so that you can get a better ship so you can go and have more fun.
Now, before anybody that currently plays Star Trek Online yells at us, this is from way back when it was new. We don't know what they've done since then, and to be honest, we don't care. Right?
Do what?
Exactly.
I was
Yes.
reading the link Brian sent.
I didn't say that.
Your complaints about Star Trek Online were from the beginning.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
it's
and many things have been
possible-
learned since then.
Yeah, and it's also possible that they fixed it. I mean, it's been going for frickin' ever now.
Yeah, well, I was going to try the Xbox One. Like they released an Xbox version where you could play it, and I think I saw Outside Xbox was doing something about Star Trek Online, or I saw someone was doing something where they were talking about Star Trek Online on Xbox, and it looked very different from how I remember it. But again, that's because, like you guys said, I started off at the very beginning, seeing the early version of it, again, sort of like Vanilla WoW. Whenever I played Vanilla WoW, I thought, oh, this is great. And then as you got further, like, oh man, this really just stinks.
Yeah.
Because to get to level 60, they didn't have any quests past level 55. So the last 5 levels you had to grind for. And that's the 5 top levels. So that means that you're doing a lot of grinding to get those last 5 levels.
Right. The point is, the game, Star Trek Online has been going for over 7 years now, so they must have done something right for it to still be going and still be popular and still be releasing expansions and episodes and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
So before anyone that plays it now goes, well, actually, we don't care. Our only experience is from the very beginning. Shut up. So,
And it's just me.
and it's just Dirk, yeah. So, hey, Mike, you haven't said much. You have any input here about any of this?
I'm not sure. I agree that one of the core things that the game needs to keep from Magic is to be able to customize and do, within certain restrictions based on the colors or the factions you chose, to do pretty much whatever you want, just like playing Magic for real. Even though it might not feel that way if you're really into the tournament scene, where you only have a handful of viable choices at any given time. That's not how real Magic. Well, I'll call it. You know what? I will call the version of Magic that we play real Magic. That's not how real Magic is intended to work.
Exactly.
Well, and I think, again, this is me putting out what I think would be good is whenever you're doing a draft, you have no idea what we're going to get. And I think that would be the whole thing about you do a mission and you get loot. And the random loot you get could be applied towards personalizing your character. And so if you get loot that lets you get creatures, and you're a person in Magic who always is like, I don't remember what the archetype, but the person who likes, doing all the manipulation, but not the big smash your face things.
Johnny.
There you go. So, but I mean, it'd be good to sort of get people out of their comfort zone and say, well, here's these cards you can apply, and maybe the cards you get are colored. And so that means if you're not in the right color tree, then you get a really great card. Maybe you're going to want to branch into that color now, so you can take that ability. Maybe it's not just a multicolor ability. Maybe it's not. Maybe the cards or whatnot you get are actually color specific res rewards. And so it's like, oh man, this one really fits my personality, but it's in the wrong color. Well, then as you level up, you can level into that color so you can use that ability. You know, things like that that potentially lead your character down a unique path.
Yeah.
As opposed to, again, if you play any of the other MMOs that like the ones that I have played, you start out going, oh man, this is kind of cool. But after you've leveled through a certain amount, there is a specific loadout that you will take your character, your class, your speciality. There is a certain loadout you will follow. There you can deviate, you can manipulate, you can have some specialization in that loadout a little bit. But if you're going to play that loadout well, there is a specific line that you will follow. And if Cryptic wants to make it you're a planeswalker, they really need to make it so that rewards or things that you do makes the experience unique, and that you can go, I really want to go to this plane. This is a really neat plane I want to go and explore, and have rewards or have levels or quests or missions or whatnot that take you as the player that way and reward you for that.
Just like, oh my god, it just clicked. It's just like playing a card game, like Magic, for instance, and you crack open a booster, and there's a new Planeswalker, and you're like, oh, I have to build a deck for this now.
Mm.
It's this. You're describing that same thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
oh my god, look, I just got a Liliana. I gotta go build a black zombie deck now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the things that makes real Magic, as Mike put it, the non-tournament Magic, great, is that every booster you open could be a whole new experience, a whole new world for you to dive into. And that's what Dirk is describing, how anything you get from finishing a quest or leveling up or whatever could be a thing that pushes you in another direction that you would never have thought of.
Right.
Oh man, Cryptic, dude, hire us. We are awesome.
Yeah, and that would be unique, in terms of MMOs and all, is because, again, WoW, if I start a mage, because again, level 20, I can play for free. I don't have to pay for that at this point. But if I start a mage, I'm going to play a frost mage. He's going to start out, before I can specialize him, I'm going to have, okay, this is what it does and everything. As soon as I specialize, I'm going frost. If I play shaman, I'm going elemental. If I play a druid, I'm like, all right, going feral. I know exactly what I'm going to do, whereas this needs to be, if I start on the green plane, I need to get cards that say, okay, if I get mono green cards, I'm going to keep going mono green. Oh, I get a black card that gives me a really cool ability. Well, you know what? I might go slip into the black. I might go hybrid black, green black. Oh, and I've got a cool blue card to go with it. Maybe I'm going to be a shard, or was a clan because it's green, blue, black.
Yep, that's a Sultai clan.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'm going to go that route. It's again, that's the cool. I think that would be really neat, and that would make almost all the planeswalkers unique. Because where do you decide to branch into one color, and where do you decide that you're going to scoot back and I'm just going to splash this color to do all my stuff?
Yeah, a thing about WoW that has always made me disinterested in it, other than the fact that actually playing it is miserable to me, is, like Dirk said, everyone's role is set. And once you get to the end game, a raid leader is like, okay, we need a frost mage with these specs. We need this kind of healer to stand here, and it's all very scientific.
Oh, and that exactly happened in several dungeons. There were maps that said, okay, healer has to sit here. There has to be a druid, rezo druid. He has to be in this spot, because when the raid wipes on this go, he can res the whole party or the whole raid, and then so we can jump back in and do this. I mean, there were huge contingency plans in Vanilla and Burning Crusade. Like, I used to look up some of the the raids, and they would have maps that said you start here, you do this, you do this.
Have you ever heard the recording of the Onyxia raid wipe, where there's the raid leader is he's an Indian guy, and he's like, okay, odd groups go left, even groups go right. That's 1, 3, 5, 7 go left, and he's like, more dots. Okay, stop dots. And it's just hilarious to where, like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, and it's hilarious to listen to. And one person gets slightly out of position, gets kicked into the whelps. A horde of whelps go flying up, wipe the party, and he's just screaming at this person because this one person wasn't standing in exactly the right spot, got hit, and everybody died. And I'm like, this is hilarious, but this does not sound like a thing I'd ever want to play.
Yeah.
Like, and there are some people who that's amazing to them, like, and they love it. And I'm not those people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's one of the things that made me never want to play WoW is like, okay, what kind of tank are you? Are you a Prospect Pally? I don't even know what that means, but but I know that's a thing people used to say, and they might still. So I think we've beaten what could be enough. You think?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. You guys have anything else we could add on the Magic MMO?
No, I mean, I at this point, it's kind of like the Magic movie when we talked about, the studio got the rights to it or whatever. Yeah. It's so far out there that, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
so
also,
now,
speaking of the Magic movie, do you remember the one thing that gave people hope about that? There was a guy attached to it who had been on the teams for like Game of Thrones and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he's no longer attached to the Magic movie and has no idea what's going on with it.
Great.
So the one thing about that gave us all hope, somebody tweeted at him recently, and somebody sent this to me. I have no idea who it was, but he responded with, "Yeah, I'm not actually attached to that anymore, but I hope it goes well." And I was like, so there's that. But so response to this has been mixed, but a lot of it is just awful negativity. A lot of it, like a lot. And we've said before, and I don't like saying this, it hurts me to have to say this, but Magic players are just the freaking worst.
I mean,
they really can be.
This feels like a recurring theme.
It is, and that's terrible.
Since I have been playing, I haven't been playing since the beginning of the game, but since I have been playing, people have complained about the new, I say new, but it was at the time, the new card face.
Oh,
God. Way back in, was that 10th edition?
8th edition.
It was 8th edition.
Yeah.
And the rules changes and other rules changes and, double face cards were going to be stupid because that was sacred ground. You shouldn't do that. There were people that actually said that. Turns out there. Yeah. I probably could not sit here and listen to all of the quote unquote ends of Magic. So, honestly, to me, this just feels like another chapter. When you tell me Magic players are complaining about something new that's coming out, my first reaction is like, sure, because that's what they do. And I'm included in that group. I get that. But it's like the more you complain about something, the less value it has. You ever been around somebody that swears a whole lot? Like, I mean, all the time?
Hi.
And have you noticed that after a while that it just doesn't affect you anymore? Because the whole point of swearing, at least most of the time, is to draw attention to the incredibly negative feeling you have about something. But so, like, if you knew somebody that never swore and they came up to you and said, holy crap, this bleeper, doing this so Chewie doesn't have to actually like bleep it later. But maybe you should bleep it for fun when I'm bleeping the bleep out of it. But that
bleep.
If somebody came up to you and said that, you'd be like, okay, excuse me, because you have my attention now, So Magic players as a community complaining about some new direction for the game, something new, even if it's completely and totally optional. It's just par for the course. Everybody remember when they printed Command Tower for the first time? And people were like, you can't do that. It's legal in Legacy, but you can only use it in Commander, and it shouldn't be that way. You know?
That was an actual quote, by the way.
People complaining very recently about the Amonkhet invocations, even though nobody is saying, well, you have to go out there and use them. But I hate how they look. You're going to use them and you're going to like it. What? No, no. If you've seen the new trailer or the new video and announcement for Archenemy Nigel Bolas, and you go, well, that's stupid, I don't want to play that, then do us all a favor and don't.
Yeah, like I even said on Monday Night Magic that Archenemy, as far as the supplemental multiplayer products that Wizards has produced in the past, Archenemy is by far the worst. But
yeah, it's completely unbalanced and unfun.
But they've taken steps to fix that with this release by having it all be one in the box thing and tweaking a couple rules.
Yes,
and that's amazing.
It's amazing how that's a simple fix, but by giving every player a deck, I think you eliminate a lot of problems, because one of the biggest issues I had was, well, okay, what deck am I going to play? And is this deck just going to make it completely unfun for the arch enemy? Because, I mean, ultimately I want them to have a good time too.
Or has the arch enemy built a scheme deck and a 60 card deck that will make it so that it doesn't even matter what the rest of us play. Right.
And so by making these decks that are meant to be played together, a la, the versus decks,
the dual decks.
The dual decks, thank you. Then that it sounds so simple to say it, but it makes such a big difference. Did you watch the video of the game nights and Gavin Verhey playing it out?
No, but
it was very amusing, I gotta say.
Oh, I'm sure it was, and I'm sure that this will be much better than the old thing. But I didn't hop on Twitter and say, Archenemy sucks and you should never print any more Archenemy because it's terrible. I just went, well, Archenemy in the past has sucked, so I'm not interested until I find out that it doesn't suck. And that's where it stopped. Mm-hmm. Like with the Magic MMO, I was like, well, I don't want to play an MMO, but it's really cool that Magic is branching out and doing other things. I didn't hop on Twitter and be like, why does Magic Online still suck, Wizards? What's your problem? I'm like, shut up.
Well, I mean, they're just getting the IP. It's not like, Wizards of the Coast is making this game. They're allowing they're allowing Cryptic to grow their IP.
Yeah.
That's very different.
And it's very important for a brand as old and as big as Magic to start branching out.
Yeah. Yes. It is. It is.
They've tried in the past, and we'll talk about those in a few minutes, but like this is huge, and this is a thing that they consciously are going to be doing in the future.
Yeah.
In the recent the stockholders meeting notes or whatever, or minutes, I guess is the word. They specifically said that they're going to be branching out and doing things like this to spread the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Brian said earlier about Minecraft skins, just a couple weeks ago, Minecraft announced the Magic the Gathering skins pack, which is just a little thing. And it literally only applies to Minecraft players, which there are 18 gazillion of, but it doesn't affect you or me or anyone else who doesn't play Minecraft. But if it makes people go, dude, what is that skin you've got of this cat-looking dude? Or like, oh, this is a Johnny. He's a Planeswalker from Magic the Gathering. What's that? Boom! Potential new customer.
You just spark someone's interest in, well, what's that from? Let me learn a little bit about that.
Exactly.
If one out of every 1,000 Minecraft players decided to try Magic,
that would be a lot of new players.
That would be a lot of new players. I think we first saw a lot of this shift with Magic Duels, when they really committed, especially when they kind of realized players aren't starting with core sets anymore. And when they started to realize just
or they finally realized players haven't started with core sets in a very long time.
Right. But they saw the potential that was Magic Duels. Because remember, they were doing it like a new version every year, and that was okay. But they realized I think it took them a little while to realize exactly what they had on their hands. Because I think Duels is one of the very first examples of them really branching out with the brand into a different area. It's still gaming.
Well, it's one of the more recent and more successful ones.
Successful, yeah. It's not. Well, I should say one of the first ones to consciously make that decision, and I think it's successfully. And I think the success of Duels is really probably part of the inspiration to what else can we do with this. They have done it otherwise. Do you remember there was an old game, not as old as Chandelar, but there was like a Magic video game that came out. It was probably around Onslaught, because I think you could pick a Planeswalker of a color, and one of them was like a chroma or something. And
was that Battlegrounds thing where you like
Magic Battlegrounds? Yeah, and I don't recall ever hearing anything super positive about it.
Oh God, it was awful.
Yeah. Did you actually play it?
Yeah, I played it. Somebody, I think this is when I was like doing some tutoring or something on the side. Somebody, because it was only on the original Xbox to my knowledge, until it came to PC way later. But it was on the original Xbox, so I didn't have an Xbox, so I couldn't play it. But somebody had it and was like, "Oh, you want to try it out?" I was like, "Sure." And it was confusing and dumb and boring. But this is a thing the MMO needs to watch out for, but I trust Cryptic. It was a little too beholden to the card game. And it was not great. Granted, I was also playing it with someone way younger than me who had played it a lot, who just wanted to beat me and didn't really want to teach me how to play. So that probably has something to do with it. But
probably. Yeah,
that was an Xbox game that had Magic the Gathering on it. What?
Which sounds great, but the worst thing in the world for a game to be is boring. And so, but it was an attempt, but I think it kind of scared him away for a while.
It was a real-time strategy game. Is the official word. So it had resource management. Mana orbs would pop out and you'd have to collect them and use that to summon things and do things, and it was not. But it was really cool to see a chroma and the tree dude. I can't remember. I think Arcanus. I think it might have been Multani, and I think the black one might have been like Isan Shade or somebody random like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was really cool to see them rendered in 3D, but then. And they could summon up creatures and whatnot that you would know from Magic and cast spells that you would know from Magic, but they were so dumb that it didn't matter. You know, it's the opposite of people who played like Warcraft and World of Warcraft coming to Hearthstone. Like, something like Steady Shot, which is the hunter's hero power in Hearthstone, is something completely different in WoW. Right, Dirk?
What?
Steady Shot?
Mm-hmm.
What is Steady Shot in WoW? Do you know off the top of your head?
Steady Shot is it takes like 5 seconds to cast, but it's a hunter ability where you deal a little bit. You deal like extra damage, but it's a special attack that requires a cast time.
Okay. Now, in Hearthstone, it's click, deal 2 damage to your opponent, done. So it's not the same thing, but it's close enough. And that's really cool if you're a hunter player that's just discovered Hearthstone, you know? And that's what they were going for with Battlegrounds, I think, is neat stuff like that. You're like, wow, that's a chroma. Wow, that's our angel, maybe. I don't remember. But it wasn't great.
But it was an attempt.
It was.
But so again, Duels, because I mentioned Duels a couple times, but just because it's actually successful. And as a way of almost reverse branding, where you're bringing other things into it. You remember with Magic Origins, they had the cards that were developed by people that didn't, or designed by people that didn't work at Wizards.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting way to, say, hey, these are people from other properties you might recognize, and now they're doing Magic cards. So it's kind of like a give and take kind of thing. So that was an interesting idea that I don't think they have done since. So, but the potential is there.
Wait a minute. When was Battlegrounds? Battlegrounds was 2003.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah.
Well, hey, that would have been right about the time that Onslaught came out, and with characters like Acroma and Arcanist, then that's going to feel more timely. You remember the movie The Sorcerer's Apprentice and Magic?
Yeah, they
partially sponsored. There was one scene with one Magic the Gathering type of like.
It was a cardboard cutout.
Cardboard cutout.
One of the characters in the movie with the Magic the Gathering brand on it.
Yeah, but Magic.
And it was like way the crap over there in the back of the scene, and I knew it was there, and I missed it completely. I didn't see it when I went to go see the movie.
I was watching the whole time. I'm like, where's it going to be? And then I actually felt like it was kind of in your face there, but it didn't matter at all. It's like, oh, look. It's like when Wayne picks up the Doritos, and he's like, Doritos,
Little, yellow, different.
but Magic, when the movie was coming out, was like, you should go see the movie, and they printed cards with the character's face like in the art and all this stuff. So you thought that it was going to be really involved, and it was that one scene. But so again, it's at least an attempt at reaching out, making your brand present and known to people that are not RE fans. So they've been making these attempts, these strides. And not everyone you do is going to be an instant classic. Well, I enjoyed that movie for the most part. Other people I've talked about, it was terrible. I don't think it was terrible. It just wasn't great.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was not. It wasn't brilliant. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was a fun.
It's not great cinema by any means, but
it was a fun, like, dumb summer movie.
Exactly. I think I saw it at the Dollar Theater, and I'm okay with that.
By the way, just as a very quick aside, the new Pirates movie doesn't suck.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I want to see it.
Like I'd not seen anybody talking about it. Nobody went to see it. Mom wanted to see it. I was like, okay, fine. This is gonna blow. And it was over. And we were like, that was really good. That wasn't a large steaming pile of ass.
I love the first. The first one's still literally one of my favorite movies. Now I wouldn't say like top 10, but but the others have all been. Ugh. And then 4 was like, what are you even doing? I want to see Pirates. I want to see Wonder Woman. I have got to see Guardians.
Good. Wonder Woman is an actually good DC superhero movie.
They can make those, huh?
Yeah.
I'm wanting to see Wonder Woman. I really want to see that movie during summer break.
Mom and I are going to go see it on Sunday.
I guess I just need to borrow $100 from somebody and just take a day over the summer and go see like 6 movies. So
that seems good.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Magic.
To Magic. Yeah.
But movies, video games.
Well, not only that, just recently, like last week or the week before, I can't remember. Another brand expansion thing that I yelled about people on Monday Night Magic. You guys remember Pro Tour special invites?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know how that's a thing they do sometimes, and
they did it for
cares?
They did it for
pretty rarely.
They did it for Kenny McCormick after the airing of Cock Magic.
Yes, they did.
But also to a real person, I remember there was a panel of Magic personalities, including I think Randy Bueller and some other people at a convention, and they invited people to come up and talk to them afterward. And a man went up there and he said, well, what do you suggest for someone that's trying to get on the Pro Tour when they're a husband and a father and they have all these real world things? Because I've been trying to do this for a while. And whoever he was talking to, I want to say it was Randy Bueller or Aaron Forsyth, I can't remember, said, well, hold on a second, and got it from the table. And the guy's like, what? And he came back and he said, guess what? Here's a special invite to the Pro Tour. He's like, whoa. And it like blew everyone's minds. So it is the Pro Tour is Magic's tournament, and it's Wizards tournament, and they can run it however they want, as long as they do so consistently. They can invite whoever they want. And when I heard about,
remember, the pro is short for promotional.
Yeah,
that's not a joke. That's not a joke.
It's not professional. And I know some people. I heard the announcement. Was it 2 weeks ago that they sent a special invite to someone that's a big Twitch,
Amaz, a Hearthstone streamer.
Okay,
and the internet
who apparently has also been streaming a lot of Magic lately.
Well, I mean, if you got a special invite to the Pro Tour, I bet you would. But
yeah.
But yeah, he's a Hearthstone streamer. He's one of the first ones that I ever discovered back in the day. I don't watch streams, but I was subscribed to his YouTube channel and would watch his stuff constantly because he was entertaining.
Great. Well, then hopefully he'll draw in more people into the Magic scene if you watch Amaz. But people talking, you would think that he took their invite. I have news. I have news for you.
That's what happened to my invite. Damn it.
Son of a bitch.
Random person in Oregon. This guy did not get your invite. He was invited because they wanted to bring someone in that would hopefully bring in more attention to the game. Is it fair? Absolutely, because it's their tournament. And if you want to complain that you haven't been able to do it yet, this is going to sound really bad because I have never won a PTQ, but I gotta say, son, get good.
I was about to say, your invite went away, random guy in Oregon, when you made that bad mulligan call in round 5 of your PPTQ.
Right, and I would,
sick burn.
If getting to the Pro Tour,
geez, 5, that's a lot of rounds. Do they go 5 rounds? I don't know. I haven't been in one in a while.
Yeah, they'll go 5 rounds. But if getting to the Pro Tour is a serious goal for you, and I mean, like, you're one of those people that's literally like, not just if it happens, it's great. If it's a serious goal for you, then you need to acknowledge that it's going to be difficult to do that, because guess what? There are literally thousands of players out there that want the exact same thing as you, and you've got to get through a good number of them, because everybody, they all want the same thing. Don't whine. Oh my God, I just remembered the Hell Vault thing where random stores got, some nicer things. And I'm like, that doesn't take away from my experience. Do I wish I'd gotten one of the nicer ones? Sure. But am I pissed at somebody else? I'm not going to get mad at somebody every time somebody wins the lottery and it's not me. Oh, that cheater, he bought a ticket and I bought a ticket too. Whoa, you can't be so obsessed with what other people are getting instead of you, because you're never going to be happy that way. You're never going to appreciate what you have.
Now, long-term listeners will know that we complained about that too, but not because someone else got something shiny that we didn't.
Yeah, it was the huge disparity in between option A and option B.
It was a bit, but I seem to recall that I was more of just the let it go kind of.
But they invited Amaz to the Pro Tour, and some portion of the internet lost their damn minds. And I'm like, do you know why? And this is gonna piss people off, and good. Do you know why Amaz got an invite to the Pro Tour and you didn't? Because millions, maybe not, thousands at the very least, of people know who Amaz is and care what he does. Nobody cares who you are and what you do. So giving you a special invite literally does nothing for them, so they're not going to do it. And this is speaking as someone that has a tiny portion of internet fame. They're never going to invite me either, because I don't matter.
You don't matter like Amaz matters.
Yeah, I don't matter enough. It doesn't. I just don't. And I've been doing this for damn near 10 years, and it's fine. I am not pissed that Amaz got my special invite, because I am not who they need. And to be honest, I don't want to go. But
I wouldn't turn it down.
But Chewy, free drafts.
Okay, that actually does sound pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, it's just people being pissy because someone else got something that they wanted and they don't deserve it. Well, they do, just not in the same way that someone who won a PPTQ and then an RPTQ.
I think I figured something out. I think what we really have here with the whole negative thing is ownership.
That is exactly what it is. And
people trying
Stephen
to
D'Angelo
assert
talks about it in this article. By the way, the link to this article is in the show notes. I highly recommend you guys all go read it.
People get invested in something. And I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably enjoy Magic the Gathering. And as we all know, Magic the Gathering tends to suck you in pretty well. And you kind of get a sense of your game. And probably your game is pretty close to the game when you started or when you're most active. And the game will change because that is the reason why the game is still around, is because they have not been making the exact same thing for almost 25 years. If they did that, no one would buy it. They are willing to innovate with it. So the game changes. And what the game looks like may not be exactly how it was when it was, quote unquote, your game. Maybe your deck, how you perceive the game to be, whether tournament Magic is your thing or casual or whatever, you're asserting some ownership over it. And that's good because it means you're personally invested. And it's terrible because it means that when you have something like that, you don't tend to look at other people's differing opinion with the same respect that you look at your own, because Magic is your game. Think about the whole stupid fake gamer girl thing a couple of years ago, and what that is a couple pissant gamer guys who said games are our thing and we define who is and isn't a gamer. Ownership. And other people, women in there, or people that wanted to stand up for women, saying, "No, this is you're being assholes." But it's basically a small segment of the population trying to say we are the real ones. We are the true believers, and our vision of this product is the right one. And I think that happens with a lot of things, and I think we see that happen with Magic. And ownership, again, is great as long as it comes with respect and with responsibility, and a willingness to realize that maybe other people have different opinions. But that is something that people unfortunately struggle with. So,
yeah.
But I say that's a lot of wishful thinking there, Brian.
Sorry, I felt like when I got on the roll there, I let some stuff out.
Oh, we let you roll.
Oh yeah, there was an odds and ends that I've really considered making public, outside of just Patreon, as a bit of a promotional thing, where Mike wasn't here for some reason. I think he had family thing or something and wasn't able to record. And me and Dirk and Brian talked at length about why nerds are terrible people. And because it was such a good discussion that I'm really still thinking of making it public this is what you get if you listen to if you come to Patreon and do the odds and ends tier. But so we got a tweet when I was tweeting about this earlier from Boo at the Space Hamster.
I love that name already.
Right? You guys remember Boo?
Maybe.
He's from the first Baldur's Gate game. Minsk.
I didn't play Baldur's Gate.
Oh, well, Minsk he was the big, strong, warrior guy, but he was kind of dumb, and he had a hamster that whose name was Boo, that he claimed came from space. Behold, he is Boo! He was really funny. I think his name was Minsk. I can't remember if I might screw that up, but I can still see his character picture in my head, and he was so cute. But anyway, Boo at the Space Hamster replied in all caps, "There might be people liking something I like in the wrong way. In the wrong way." And I was like, retweet. And that's all it is. People that are reacting negatively to a Maz being on the Pro Tour, or negatively to a Magic MMO. People keep saying, well, MMOs are dead, Chewy. Yeah, sure, that's why there are so many MMOs right now that have been going for years. It's because they're a dead genre. Fine.
Yep.
Whatever you say, man. Not even counting WoW, which doesn't count because WoW is not an MMO. WoW is its own thing. WoW is WoW. Everything else are MMOs. And then people saying things like, well, why does Magic Online still suck? It's not like the people from WotC that work on Magic Online are moving over to the MMO section.
And people have been claiming that Magic Online has sucked since literally the day that it launched.
Well, yeah.
And maybe that's true.
And maybe it's true or maybe it's not. I've enjoyed several drafts on there. You just have to go in with certain expectations, is what I have found. But the game is what it is. That's like going to the original Mario and saying, you can't turn into a raccoon. This is awful.
This game is dildos. Yes.
This game is raccoon dildos.
Oh.
Except we don't have any of those. So
trash pandas.
So could Magic Online be better? Absolutely. Do I think they're always trying to work at getting it better? Sure. Are those people going to be working on this game? Probably not.
No, not at all.
No.
So
they got stuff to do.
Yeah.
They got other things to work on.
They got Magic Online stuff to do. They don't have time to be coding an MMO. Shut up. But like, I don't understand the nerd negativity. And like I said, I've been guilty of it in the past, but in recent, I'm going to say years, plural, I've eased up a lot because I realize it's stupid and pointless and angry and toxic for no reason. There are some things that I will loudly proclaim, this is stupid and I wish everyone involved would die. Like when they banned Zach Jesse. That's a whole can of worms that I'm not going to open up again. But I felt very vocally bad about that whole situation, and I really wish that it hadn't happened. And when they changed the rotation schedule back to the way it was, which has resulted in the dumpster fire that we have right now that's called Standard. Like, they changed it, and it made perfect sense that they changed it and why they changed it and how they changed it, and I thought that was awesome. And then enough people bitched and moaned and complained that they went back on it, and now everything sucks. And this is your fault, you people that complained about that. We shouldn't have had Aetherworks Marvel and Ulamog in the same Standard for more than 3 months. And yet here we are. This is your fault. Anyway, so I still give Wizards, obviously, I give Wizards crap about going back on that decision, but these are all things that I don't like because I think they are bad for the game and the brand, based on my own system of morals and that sort of, and ethics and business sense, which admittedly is my own personal system, and there are plenty of good reasons to do all the things that Wizards does. Sometimes I disagree, sometimes I don't. But anything that's going to open Magic up to more people, Amaz has, you know what? I'm going to go look right now. Amaz Twitch. Yep. Let me mute this tab in case he's currently streaming. Amaz currently has 809,000 followers. He's got 76 million views, and I can't see how many subscribers he has. But still, that's why.
Dude has an audience.
So that's why. Like, it's fine. And an MMO is going to hit the video gaming side of things in ways that others haven't. Like Magic Duels, you can say, well, it's a video game all you want. It's really only kind of a video game. It's mostly just Magic made smaller and more compact, but it's still Magic the card game.
What was that other game they tried to do a few years ago?
Tactics?
That was sort of Battlegrounds-ish. Yeah, Tactics, that's right.
Yeah, that was in
Magic
2011.
Released in 2011 and shut down in 2014. I had no idea that it lasted for 3 years.
What was the name of it?
Magic the Gathering Tactics.
It was free on Steam at one point, and I played it, and it wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't great.
Yeah, turn-based strategy game that used position.
If I remember correctly, it felt very much like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Which I'm sure is what they were going for, yeah.
Yeah. But Tactics was done, like Final Fantasy Tactics was done in a much more engaging way.
Came to PC and PS3.
And the only reason why I played it was because it was free. I think there was like a free weekend or something like that where you could, like it was a promo. Here, play it for free download it for free. If you want the actual version, you have to pay to get to do the whole game. But here's this intro sort of thing that was you could do, and that's the only reason why I knew as much as I did about it.
Yeah, they do free weekends for games quite frequently. Actually, Overwatch actually just had a free weekend last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. It's a way to get you to try it out and see if you like it, and then give them money, which makes perfect sense. Apparently, it never actually came to the PlayStation 3.
Probably shut down by then.
It was announced and then just didn't happen.
Well, it was announced, but then because it was shut down in 2014, I guess they didn't bother. Oh, I had no idea that it lasted for that long. I thought it was one of those flash in the pan things.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. How about that? But, I mean, going back to video games, they did the one that Mike likes to talk about, Chandelar, which is how we just know it now. At the time, it was just called Magic the Gathering, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it took place on Chandelar, and that's just how the shorthand we've taken to describing it.
Yeah. I think when I talk about it, I usually just call it the old Microprose game.
That's also true, yeah. But it was like an adventure role-playing card game. Like, Magic the game was still in there, but you had all the walking around and doing stuff from an adventure RPG, right?
Yeah, and you could play, Magic the game completely separately from it. And there was even a way to link up and do online play or just play locally against AIs. But yeah, the Magic the game was integrated into that, explore the world, go around, have adventures, collect cards.
Yeah.
Beat the evil wizard thing.
Exactly. And that's pretty much that. And I don't know how popular it was back in the day, but I know a lot of people have played it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
I still have a cracked version of it installed on my laptop.
Oh, nice. Let's see. GameSpot gave it a generally positive review. This translation looks beautiful, plays decently, and has all the qualities except the ability to play with other humans that made the card game a hit. Moby Games gives it an aggregate score of 79 based on 13 critic reviews. So there you go. That's pretty good for back in the day for a stupid PC game based on a stupid card game, But they had a few others. There's actually a link. There's a Wikipedia page. I'll put a link in the show notes to Magic the Gathering video games, including a bunch that I've never heard of. A real-time strategy game called Battle Mage.
I don't know.
Oh, poor critical reception due to its unfair AI, unfriendly interface, and unbalanced gameplay. Well, there you go.
Wait, was that something that was on like the PlayStation or something else?
It actually doesn't
say. Yeah.
Because I remember there was another
sounds like a real trash fire.
Short-lived console game.
Let's see. We've got Magic the Gathering Armageddon, an extremely rare arcade game from '97, the same year as Battle Mage. It's possible that as few as 4 machines were made. Okay, well, we'll just skip that.
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
Magic the Gathering on the Sega Dreamcast.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Was in Japan only. And includes cards from 6th Edition, Alliances, and Tempest. Wow. Interesting. And had random mechanics that would be difficult to implement in real-life card play. Oh. Let's see, the Interactive Encyclopedia, that's not it. Magic Online, that's not it. Battlegrounds, we've talked about. And then we come to Duels of the Planeswalkers in 2009. Wow, is it that late? Huh, okay.
Yep.
And then they did, in 12, 13, and 14, and 15, they did yearly installments of Duels of the Planeswalkers until in 2015, they released Magic Duels, and it was just going to be persistent, which we talked about, and you can still find me playing the story mode on YouTube whenever a new set comes out. And that's it as far as video games until the MMO happens. If the MMO happens, you know how that is in game development and whatnot.
Yep.
But they've done a lot of weird things to promote Magic in other places over the years. Like, the Minecraft skin pack is just the most recent. You guys remember Jones Planeswalker Soda?
Yes.
Yep. I'm just waiting for.
I had a case of it delivered to my apartment, and when I was living in Georgia.
I'm waiting for Magic the Gathering the cereal, and it can have like little white, blue, black, and red marshmallows.
Dude, back in the 80s, that would have been a thing.
That would have been a thing,
up.
like the Super Mario Brothers and Zelda cereal. You remember how the box was half and half?
Yep.
And the marshmallows will be the symbols on the cards.
There you go.
Oh,
the mana symbols.
The mana symbols.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you how effective the old Nintendo cereal was. I still remember bits of the song that played in the commercials. They went, Nintendo, it's for breakfast now. Nintendo, it's a cereal. Wow. That's always stuck in my head. Yup. Look it up. Or don't. Whichever. But, yeah, the Jones Planeswalker Soda, I swear, seemed to be more of a promotional thing for Jones than for Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd never heard of Jones Soda. And all they did was take their existing flavors and put the Planeswalker art by, oh god, who's the guy who did the original Planeswalkers? Alexi...
Bricklow?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Very good, Mike. But yeah, they took his iconic images of the original Planeswalkers and just put them on their sodas and named them something new. But it was the same sodas that they had already. And I still see Jones Soda every once in a while.
And I found out later they did more runs of those past that first set of 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And when I say I found that out later, I mean I found that out like within the past couple months. It's like something that I had just never known before.
I did not know that. Huh. Like I said, I still see Jones Soda.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think I do. Last time I was paying attention in like the random soda aisle, there it was, and I was like, huh, and I had a little giggle, and I didn't buy any, because why would I? And but I severely doubt there were Jones Soda enthusiasts who got into Magic because of it, I mean, there might be, just not terribly probable.
If you are that person, send us an email.
Send us an email.
And some Jones Soda.
But not Planeswalker Soda, because I'm sure that's past the good date. What else do we have? What else have they done over the years? I know they've done other stuff, but nothing else is coming to mind off the bat.
They've done figurines a couple times. Most of those times, they never got past the planning stage. They never actually got put into production. But a few of them actually did.
Oh,
that
I know
was a
that
very long time ago.
They totally had some pop.
Oh yeah,
figures.
the Funko. Yeah, there's been a ton of Funko Pop figurines.
Let's see here, MTG, like figure. How would that like action figures? They made MTG action figures, didn't they?
See, I don't know. I remember reading about them and seeing reading about them in Inquest, saying, "Oh God, look at this," but I don't know whether any of them actually got put into production.
Yep.
Okay, apparently Funko actually made some.
You can find them on Amazon.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking. Actually, I thought I know
there were some. I know there were some that were made, but definitely not all the ones I heard about. That's what I'm trying to say.
See, these are like action figures, and they've also got the weird like Funko Pop, chibi, big head, big eyes things. Mm-hmm. I think only like the original 5 got made. Well, not the original 5.
There's
I think
6.
it was. Oh, there were 6. There was
Liliana, Ajani, Chandra, Jace, Garrick, and Nissa.
Nissa, yeah, there we go. Because it was all 5, and Garrick who was out to get them at the time. I remember now. This is when Garrick was black-green and killing Planeswalkers.
Are you talking about action figures or Funko Pop?
Well, they're by Funko, but they're action figures.
Okay.
The Funko.
Well, no, I'm talking about like back when I was in high school, reading stuff and seeing models for like a Sarah Angel figurine or a Herlin Minotaur figurine or a
Oh my god
figurine. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know whether those actually got put into production.
I don't think so. Because that's the sort of thing. Let's see, when you were,
and I felt like I would see something about that like once every year or two, but that's it. I would just like see things about them, and I never knew whether any of them actually existed.
Ooh, no, that's a statue. Never mind. I've seen this Herlin Minotaur statue before. Yeah. I don't think any of that ever came to fruition, sadly. And if it did, they were in such a limited run that they don't exist anymore. But I don't think so. How cool would that be, though? So what else? What else comes to mind? I know they've done other weird branding things, but I can't.
Arena of the Planeswalkers is a recent example.
Oh my god, duh, the board game. That's a thing we wanted to talk I wanted to talk about on this. That's branching out into board game players, because if you're not a card/board game player, you might not know that these two things are not intrinsically related. I, as a card game player, despise board games. Or at least I did back in the day before I realized that those things weren't board games. Those were exercises in misery. Things like the Game of Life and Sorry. If you talk to people who play real board games, they'll be like, those aren't board games. Those are trash. I heard Clues say those exact words to someone not too long ago. So,
well, I mean, they're for entertaining little kids and teaching them how to follow rules of a game.
Right.
That's what they do.
Or in the case of Candyland, teaching them how to cheat creatively.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you were that kid, weren't you, Mike? Wait.
I did that one time.
Awesome.
And Mom was very disappointed in me when I told her what I did after the game was over. I didn't think it was wrong, but apparently it was.
Yep. And then you learned, when you do that, don't tell Mom.
Exactly.
But anyway, yeah, Arena of the Planeswalkers is a completely different thing that takes Magic, the card game, and adapts it to this whole other genre. And we've played it a few times at Brian's house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool. Right?
I think so.
I think it's fun.
Like, it's neat, and it's pushing, for me anyway, it pushes me into a genre of things that I would not play because it says Magic on it, which is the whole point. Actually, I guess that's half the point. The other half is to bring people who are into that sort of thing into Magic because it's a thing that they like, and they go, well, what's all this Magic thing about? But it works both ways. Like, it got me to play this strategy board miniatures game because it said Magic on it.
Oh, I got the Shadows over Innistrad expansion, so I guess we need to try that out at some point. I don't think there was a Kaladesh expansion, and I don't think I've heard of a Amonkhet expansion either, so I don't know what that means.
Probably not a great sign. Considering that they don't really give us any information about it ever.
That is very true. We didn't... I don't think they even mentioned the Shadows thing. We just happened to spot it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I spotted it because I was on Amazon looking at something else, and it's like, hey, you want this? I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh my gosh.
Let's see if we go to Board Game Geek. Expansions. Battle for Zendikar is the only one that's listed on Board Game Geek. Wow. That's not good. Planeswalkers. Oh. Expansion. Here we go. Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe the Shadows of Innistrad one isn't considered an expansion because it's something that can be played out of its own box. The Battle for Zendikar one, you had to have the base game to have enough stuff to play.
Yeah, BFZ actually was an expansion, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, wait, here we go. Here's the Gamepedia. BFZ expansion, Walmart bonus version. BFZ expansion, SOI expansion / standalone, and that's all that's listed on the MTG Gamepedia. So yeah, we don't know if that's been quietly killed or not. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
But even so, I mean, this is.
I think it'd be hard to keep up with. I think it'd be hard to keep something like that rolling if you're trying to keep it synced with two new, major game worlds per year in the card game.
True. It could be that they would do like a standalone thing and an expansion back and forth, but still, I'm sure this thing is expensive to produce and is not making terribly much money back. But still, it was neat, and it's Magic expanding its brand into other places, which is what this whole thing is about. Let's see. MTG tie-ins. Let's see what this Google gets me. Tie games. God almighty. Screw you, Google. Just gathering. I don't even know how to search for that. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess since this episode's been going for a while anyway, send us an email and let us know of any of these other weird magic things where they've attempted to branch out into other places that we just can't freaking remember.
I think we've covered a good amount.
Oh, comic books. Comic books.
Oh my god, comic books. Oh my
yes.
god. And they've been doing that forever.
For
decades.
Basically ever. Well, yeah.
Yeah, because there was way back, like way back, there were comics. Oh god, about I never read any of them.
Like the Ice Age and some of the Brothers War, and some other random stories happening in the Magic universe.
Yeah. And I don't even know if they are still going, but I know that for a while that there was Dak Faden.
That's right. Yeah, the IDW comics about Dak Faden that came with special promo cards in each issue.
The greatest thief in the multiverse. You know how I know that? Because they said it. So what if we go Magic the Gathering comics? Cardboard crack. Comic books. Lord have mercy. Let's see. IDW, MTG Wiki, Really? There's not a wiki for this? Like on Wikipedia? So let's see. Way back in the day, Harper Prism did books. Oh god, these are books. Scroll. Books, that's another one. Normal books. Things that you would find on a shelf in a bookshop and be like, hey, what's this? I kind of doubt that many of those were actually good at pulling in new people, but let's see. 1,000 years ago, Armada Comics did some Arabian Nights, Antiquities, the Urza Mishra War. Here's the ones that I remember. Dakin Blackblade, Elder Dragons, Fallen Angel, and Legend of Jedit Ojanen. Those are the ones that I remember from way back in the day. Let's see. Dark Horse did Gerard's Quest 1 through 4.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. IDW did Magic the Gathering 1 through 4, The Spell Thief, Path of Vengeance, and Theros.
There were Theros comics?
Yeah, Magic the Gathering Theros 1 through 5, it says IDW did.
Huh.
Dak Faden. All of these, I'm pretty sure, follow Dak Faden. So, yeah, there you go. Look at that. But there's all kinds of nonsense that if you just poke around the internet, you'll find. And if I knew how to track this, like, easily, or Google this easily, I'd have, like, a list. But I have no idea. So I guess we should go ahead and wrap it up. Do we have anything on the MMO or expanding the brand or anything that we haven't talked about yet that we just really need to say?
Whatever you do, don't screw it up.
Let's see. Looks exciting. We'll see if it ever happens. People are jerks that feel like they can dictate what everyone should and shouldn't like. Wizards.
It's going to kill the game.
Successes and failures. I feel like we've covered pretty much every spectrum here.
Oh, something that Billy said to me on Twitter. He said, I just hope there's not another Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now, I don't know what happened to Star Wars: The Old Republic. Dirk, do you know?
It had problems.
It started off like it has a really cool premise. It was one that you had to have a subscription for. I don't even know if there was a free to play in the initial architect, and it had a cool. I mean, it was not a bad game, but it just didn't have it. Like they were trying to compete with WoW in essentially like as a WoW clone. The difference being that it was in the Star Wars universe and that it was voiced. All you didn't have to read text. There were voice actors that actually spoke all the dialogue. It was a fully voiced game, which made it slightly different. Aside from that, it was just another WoW knockoff, except that it was in the Star Wars universe. And because WoW already had established community, it did pretty much everything that WoW did, and and all, people were just like, well, why would I leave my friends who play WoW to play this game when they're already playing WoW? And so it just really didn't take off. And then I think somewhere into the second or third expansion, they went to the free-to-play model. And at that point, there was a lot of integration problems with the game was not meant to be free-to-play. And so when they tried to turn it into a free-to-play model, there was a lot of conflict and issues that cropped up around it.
Gotcha.
Like, it only been out like a year or two, and then EA was like, nope, it's free-to-play. That's the only way we're going to keep people playing this game. And the people, the name was BioWare, whoever the publisher was, or whoever had the IP or whatnot, was thinking, but that's not how we built this. You know? He's like, you're trying to go to a building by now making a giant glass tube that goes around the streets to do all this. And so there was just issues that cropped up about it. The game is still has expansions coming out for it, but it does not have the popularity. It does not have the financial return that WoW has.
Well, yeah. Because what does?
Yeah.
That's another thing that
Hearthstone.
Well, that's another thing that I saw was, why are they bothering? It's not going to make the WoW money. Okay.
Well, the problem with a lot of the MMOs is that they're good for, I mean, you can probably get enough expansions and enough interest to last you somewhere between 2 to 5 years. And then after that, now you have to either change the mechanic, you have to do something that tweaks the game enough to keep people interested. And I honestly, the way WoW does it is they release an expansion every 2 years. And the expansion includes a new place, new raids, new dungeons. You know, they as soon as they've released the expansion, there's patches that they release that adds new content, but I have no doubt that they've got a team right behind them who are already coming up with new stuff. You have 1 year to develop ideas. You have one more year to sort of get this thing built, and then it's got to be released. You know, or you got 6 months to come up with some ideas in terms of where we're going next, what this story is going to be, get all that laid down. 6 months to get enough put together that they can make a trailer for, here's what's coming out next year, to get everybody excited. And then they have a year to finish filling this thing out before they release it. And that's how Blizzard has done it since up until Legion.
And, you know, thankfully, the main Magic creative team, that's just what they do all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So there will be a lot of resources like that for the MMO publishers to draw from.
Yeah, depending, and again, we've speculated a great deal in terms of the MMO and sort of ideas and things that they can do. It really comes down to what the Cryptic guys are going to be able to implement. Because they may find that cards or having 12 planes or whatnot is just too far out of their scope. And that's much easier to go with a City of Heroes base and then just add stuff as you go. So, I mean, the one thing that they just really need to make sure they don't do is make something that either A, they already have out, because now you're competing with your own brand, and B, that it's not a clone of something else that's out there that makes people just go, well, why would I do this if there's the thing that's been doing it better? So
yeah, that's an issue for every new game that comes out, though. So hopefully they'll figure it out. And remember, listeners, as of this recording, all we know is that it's a thing that Cryptic will be doing. It's already on their website, which I think is really cool.
This is join their team, and I think they've got some positions and stuff.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think they all say that. But if you go to crypticstudios.com and click on games and then click to the left, there it is, Magic the Gathering. Cryptic Studios is developing a new free-to-play, oh, look at that, it says it right there, action MMORPG based on Magic the Gathering. the acclaimed strategic card game. Ahem. Experience stunning visuals and sound as we bring Magic to life in this next generation MMORPG. As a Planeswalker, you explore amazing worlds, combat powerful creatures, and meet the legendary beings that shape the fate of the multiverse. And that's literally all we've got. And frankly, that's enough for me. Considering this was announced today, I didn't even expect to see it on their website. I just happened to start clicking through games, and there it was. I was like, whoa!
Chewie, are you going to be the one calling the shots on the big Nicol Bolas raid?
I hate you. More dots. The hell are dots, Dirk? The hell are dots?
Dots are... do they stand for? Are they an acronym? Essentially, what a dot is, it's a static effect you throw on someone.
Oh wait, dots damage over time.
There you go. And so it's something you throw on that, like warlocks will throw dots on someone and their plagues or their diseases or something, so that they're taking damage over time.
Oh, okay, got it. So poison or. Like poison in Final Fantasy is dot.
Right, is a dot.
Okay.
Generally, though, that there's some sort of symbol that either is over the target or over you that says either they have it or you have it. That lets you know that it's there, some sort of symbol.
Gotcha.
So it's not like in Final Fantasy, the color is what lets you know. Or when you're blind, how it has a little symbol that has like sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Like there's something that says you have a static effect on you. Well, that's what a dot is. Gotcha.
I hate you, Mike, by the way. In case I didn't make that clear before. So yeah. I guess we'll wrap it up then. What do you guys think? We good?
Yes.
I think we're good.
Think we're good. So who wants to take us away first?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I feel like I was able to participate a lot more in discussion today because this is a little bit more up my alley. Yep. I have definitely played a lot of MMOs, and there are some good and there are some bad. Magic has had some ups and they've had some downs when it comes to all of this, and I do hope that this works out well. I would like to give this one a shot and just sort of explore it and test it out and everything. Yeah.
Now,
as Chelsea...
Wait. It does need to be pointed out, even if this comes out and is terrible and crashes and burns, it's not going to hurt Magic the brand itself.
No.
No. Magic is pretty good with its established fan base, as long as Wizards themselves don't, drive us all away. I think it'll be fine. I mean, Star Wars: The New Republic, or the Old Republic didn't kill the Star Wars brand.
Right.
The prequels almost did, but
Disney acquiring them didn't, even though there were people that, when Disney bought them, said, well, this is going to be terrible. And I'm like, if you don't like the movies, don't watch them. Dude, okay, I know it's Dirk's final thought, but on YouTube, just clicking around the other day, I found a video. This was released shortly after the new trailer, still the only trailer as far as I know, for The Last Jedi came out. And the name of this video is, I kid you not, Social Justice Warriors Are Ruining the New Star Wars. And it was based off of literally the trailer, which is what, like 30 seconds for the new
It's a couple
movie?
Minutes.
Oh, is it the teaser trailer? Okay, well, basically it's Luke and Rey, and it's like, a couple different shots. That's it.
Yeah,
and this guy,
it's 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Yeah, I just saw it again before whatever movie, Pirates. So yeah.
Okay, and this guy is just going on and on about how social justice warriors are ruining Star Wars. And as an example, he says we don't need more diversity because, and he points to literally Lando Calrissian and Samuel L. Jackson, and he's like, "See, we're good." And he's like,
"See, we got black characters." It's cool.
he's like, everybody forgets about Lando Calrissian, the man that blew up the second Death Star, and then there's Mace Windu, and it has the shot of him like cutting the head off of Jango Fett. And he's like, so we're good, right? And I'm like, oh my god. And what's bad is some of his thoughts on the new series weren't terrible, but I don't get where and there was actually something where he had a rating system, and his rating system was Jar Jars, and it's like, demerits, you don't want them. I thought that's kind of interesting, but just about everything else he said and his logic was just so
sounds like somebody needed to check their privilege.
A little bit, but anyway, I
remember before I had heard the term social justice warrior, and before I knew what it was, I would see every once in a while here and there people complaining about SJWs, and I'm like, what's wrong with single Jewish women?
Yeah.
I think they're kind of cute. Like,
they are ruining
on?
Everything. I have to say, I would probably be a social justice shaman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Elements guide you.
Exactly. Anyway, okay.
I'd probably take cleric now that I think about it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh my.
I love you, Dirk.
In terms of anything else, this week is exam week.
Like, anything else, please, God. Anything else?
Like, I want to go to bed. Tomorrow actually is the last day for students, and they've wrapped up their exams today. So if anyone shows up tomorrow, I think we're just going to have a holding area that we're just going to send people to. I'm waiting for my exam grades so I can enter them and get my grades done because they're due tomorrow. So that's
those holding areas. Yeah.
That's my priority.
I would go to school because it was a school day, and Mom made me go to school. It's like, we're not doing anything. It's like, it's a school day. Go to school. Damn it.
We actually had, if you want perfect attendance, you actually have to still go to school tomorrow. And so
it's cool. We've got pens in the gym. They've got little feeders. It'll be fine.
Well, I was mentioning this, like, well, tomorrow's still a school day, and one of the teachers say, yeah, that means there'll be the happy helpers tomorrow, because there won't be happy helpers. That was definite sarcasm, but there'll be helpers tomorrow. Be like, or there'll be doers, as in, I need you to do this. I need you to take care of this. I need you to clean this. They're going to be the gophers?
Putting your ass
tomorrow
to work because we got
what's
you
the word? Gophers. There's. I need you to go for this.
We got you for one more day. We're putting your ass to work.
You still want that A, don't you? And as I was going through my grades today, I'm thinking of some. Oh my gosh! Based on the amount of stuff I did not put zeros in for, if you failed the exam, that is your fault. Because the amount of stuff I did not put in zeros for some of them, the fact that they have a 50 right now in my class is mind-boggling. Which, by the way, a 60 is passing. They changed it to a 10-point scale.
Oh.
So some of them have 50s for me, and the only thing I have grades for them are tests and one lab. We've done way more than that. But if I were to actually put in their zeros, they would probably have a 14. Good. And when you do that, there is absolutely no way that they will pass. And the problem is that if I don't, this is the dilemma of a teacher, is this kid will not do any more work. There is nothing I can do. I can either fail them and make them retake the class, and they will do the exact same thing all over again in front of the teacher, or I can just leave this here and say, if you pass the final exam, I will pass you. If you don't pass the final exam, and leave it up to the final exam to determine whether or not they pass or fail. I have done that several times where a kid is right there on the border, and the final exam determined whether or not they passed or failed my class. Because if nothing else, the final exam, even though it's a really terrible way of determining how much they know, because it's and some of the tests are weighted so badly in their favor that if they get 12 out of 40 questions right, they'll pass. I'm still would just rather say that you pass the test, you can pass the class. I would rather let that be the determining factor and sort of leave it out of my hands and leave it on them.
Mm.
So there's a couple I have to find out tomorrow if they passed or failed my class.
The education system in this country. Gotta love it.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of other things that makes me shake my head, but I will say this, that I've taught a lot of kids that are great promises for the future.
Can I ask a question of Dirk that he will only have to spend about 30 seconds on?
Sure.
This last weekend I was in Indiana, and I saw my uncle and his daughter, my cousin, lives in London,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also a former principal. My uncle. He is a big proponent now of year-round school, especially for elementary age kids, because you basically you don't have the loss of the information.
I agree with year-round school for elementary.
Okay.
I actually think that would be an amazing thing, because there is absolutely no reason why they should not be in school. Because now the benefit that my
it's
kids
a
have is
holdover
that
from agrarian society. So
I'm looking at it from, I am so thankful that I'm a teacher, and that Trevor and Leighton, when he gets into kindergarten, that because I have summers off, I can take them to the zoo, I can take them to museums, I can go and do stuff with them to sort of keep their stuff going. And I have no idea if some of the educational programs are still going to be good over the summer, but you better believe that they're going to be doing, I'm going to have them go outside, that we're going to be doing stuff to try and keep them educationally involved, but that's not the case for the bulk of kids.
Yeah.
And that really does not need to be the case, especially for elementary school kids.
Okay.
They need to be engaged all year long.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. You can go to bed now.
Rightio. You guys all have a good night.
Good night.
Night, Zerk. So, how about you, B?
So, let's see. I guess over the weekend I was in Indiana for a family event, and we had a flight that was going to leave at 8 in the evening on Sunday so that we could come back. Sam's last week of kindergarten is this week, so we wouldn't miss work. Sam wouldn't miss school. It was a little late getting in because then it was going into Charlotte, right? So we'd still have to drive back. So it was going to take a little while, but we'd still be back. And we rushed through dinner at 5 o'clock to make sure we were leaving in time to get to the airport. And on the way to the airport, Carrie got a notification on her phone that our flight was delayed 35 minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, now, we were going to make sure we were there ahead of time, but now we've got a little bit of extra cushion. That's all right. So we get set up at the gate, and we looked around, and we could not find a seat that was not apparently under some kind of air conditioning vent. So Carrie and Sam were cold. I can handle a little better than they can. And after a while, they came on and said, yeah, we're really sorry, but we're going to be delaying a little bit. We're not sure how much. And then it came out that our plane, which was leaving Charlotte to come and pick us up to then go back to Charlotte to then I think they still had yet another trip to make to New Orleans or something, was still on the ground in Charlotte, and it was some kind of staffing problem. Okay, and at that point they were telling anyone that had a connecting flight to come see them, because they almost certainly were not going to make their connecting flight, but they wanted to talk to them at the desk about it. And some people got new flights, and other people, they said, well, hold on, we'll see what we can do later and see if this is going to leave anytime soon. I heard a lot of it just because we were sitting pretty close to the gate. And we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock come and go. And at sometime a little before 10, I think, we are informed the plane has left Charlotte. And we're like, thank goodness. Charlotte is our last stop. We don't have a connecting flight. It's going to be super late now, but we are determined to see it through. We've been there for hours. And a little after 10:30, when we're thinking the plane should just be getting there, within the next 15 minutes or so, and they'll get everybody off and we can board because like half the people aren't even on our flight anymore. The guy at the desk gets a call, and he's been super nice. It's not his fault at all, but he said something about, "You're gonna make me make this announcement," and then he hung up the phone. He said, "All right, flight's been canceled. Everybody needs to come see me." And I was like, "Wow, the fact that we've been there this whole time." And he said he even said in the announcement that it was technically canceled due to conditions on the ground, which in Indiana, nothing was happening. And if he meant Charlotte, then the plane was almost here. It's got basically almost 2 hours to then figure itself out. And we looked, and there didn't seem to be any storms reported. So we're like, my dad had the kind of cynical view that so many people have been moved from the flight that some bean counter said, well, it's not worth it to fly that many people. I don't know if I completely agree, but I was tired and there's nothing I could do about it anyway. So we got rescheduled for Monday afternoon. So I got to see my family a little more, but we had to completely rearrange work schedules, and it was just crazy. So I guess the moral of the story, sometimes these things happen. It's really not any one person's fault, but it definitely sucked at the time. But we're back.
I really like your
Glad you like it. We're back, and work has been interesting. I had a trial today, and I'm not going to go into all that, but work has been interesting and stressful at the same time. I guess the last thing I'll say is that tired, and I am looking forward to the topic that it looks like we'll be talking about next time, assuming that our schedule doesn't get completely flopped around on us yet again, because that is something that happens. And I'm glad we took the time to talk about this today. And now I'm going to leave everybody with these last two guys. So, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and I will talk at you later.
Night, B. Well, how about you there, Beardy Face?
This MMO news was very interesting to hear about. I don't know if I'm going to try to play it. MMOs aren't really my thing. That's the biggest reason why I did so little talking during this episode, because I really didn't feel like I had much to contribute. Like, I remember back in the day, some of my friends played EverQuest, and a couple times when I was visiting them, I would, make a new character and mess around with that for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are some demos, like, I don't know if they were demos or just like free to play up to level 5 somethings that I played in college for various things that never really hooked me. And I don't know whether I'm going to go for this one, just because, like I said, MMOs aren't really my thing. But it sounds like it could be really interesting, especially since it's being published by a company who knows what they're doing and who knows how to make good games like this. So overall, pretty optimistic.
A lot of the negativity was also about Cryptic. And I'm like, I don't know Cryptic. So I looked them up, and I'm like, it sounds like they're perfect.
Yeah.
What? But then, this is a thing I meant to say way earlier. It's the thing that I said on... I don't remember. I think I said it on Twitter to Charles. Hey, buddy, you still listening? And that's that nerds are spiteful assholes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's a thing that happens. And whenever something is different, they turn into spiteful assholes. So, whatever.
Yeah, so is that. So besides that, looking forward to the next few days. I'm taking a little vacation. One of my cousins is graduating from high school. And my mom's side of the family likes to get together for a big thing when stuff like that happens. So I'll be up in the mountains visiting family the next few days. But then in the middle of it, Thomas and I are going to drive back down to Charlotte to see Iron Maiden. We've been looking at the show for months and months.
Nice.
So even though when I think about the big picture, it seems kind of dumb to drive all the way out to the mountains, tomorrow afternoon, then drive all the way out from there down to Charlotte, Friday afternoon, evening, and then crash somewhere in Charlotte Friday evening, and then drive back up to the mountains Saturday morning because there's like the actual graduation party is going to be Saturday afternoon and evening, and then come back here to Greensboro Sunday afternoon so my brother can go back to, then from there go back to Durham. It's a lot of damn driving around, but
Just a little bit.
But I think it's going to be a good weekend all the same.
Word.
Gosh.
Well, when they play...
Wow, that sounds even stupider now that I say it out loud. Because like every day over the next few days, I'm going to be making a 3 to 4 hour car ride. What the hell is wrong with me? Oh, well.
I mean, you'll figure it out.
It's already figured out. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just saying what the hell is wrong with me.
Welcome to my life. Except I get paid to do it. So,
Yeah.
Not much, but better than not. So do me a favor, when they play Peace Sells, throw up the horns for me.
That's a Megadeth song.
Yeah, I know, that was the joke.
Okay, got it. I didn't know whether you knew that.
How about when they play Enter Sandman? Throw up the horns for me.
I think last time we went to... Wait, am I mixing things up? No, last time we saw Iron Maiden in Raleigh, Megadeth was one of the openers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I never seen them play live, and I wasn't all that big of a fan, and my mind didn't change, but it was all right.
When they play...
Yeah, this time, there's just one opener, Ghost, is going to be playing, and I just don't get it. I'm pretty sure Chewy doesn't know about Ghost, but I'm sure there are listeners who do, but I don't get it. Well, okay, I get it, but it doesn't get me. I think that's a better way of putting it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Like when I hear a Ghost song or see a recording of a performance, I'm just like, I could be listening to King Diamond right now. It's like that's what I'm thinking. But that's neither here nor there.
Gotcha. When they play One Step Closer, throw up the horns for me.
Yes, sir.
Or whatever. Oh, God. Wait, who did you say you're going to see?
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, there we go. I'm like, my brain keeps throwing all these like other songs by other bands at me, and I'm like, wait, which one is real?
Where do the jokes end and reality begins?
That's a question I live with daily, Mike. Anyway. As for me, this episode has gone on long enough, so I'm just going to give you all of the information. So you can find us basically anywhere on the internet. We are The Mana Pool. If you want to see the YouTube videos, that's youtube.com/The Mana Pool. Also, you can listen to The Mana Pool and Monday Night Magic there too, if that's easier for you. If you want to catch me streaming games, like this week it'll be Overwatch because of the stupid event. But that event ends very soon. This weekend, I think. So I think Monday this event ends, so I can go back to streaming other things. Thank goodness. But that's twitch.tv/The Mana Pool. If you want to follow us on Twitter, where I actually interact with people, that's at The Mana Pool. If you want to go to the Facebook page, where everything that we do appears there eventually. I think I forgot to put a link to the new episode on there, but I might not have. Most of it's automated, but podcasts aren't, so I'm bad at this. Did I? There's the video. Yep, I didn't put a link to the new episode.
Oops.
Yeah, I've got to figure out how to automate that because it's a pain. But anyway, we don't interact with people there so much, but that's a way to go. That's where to go to keep in touch with everything, and we will respond to comments and messages and whatnot there. So we're just not proactive about it there. That's a good place to go to be notified of everything we do.
Everything in quotation marks.
Yeah, well, everything.
Everything that Chewie remembers.
Everything that Chewie remembers. Yes. And once I figure out how to automate it, then it'll be good. Also, Mike, bite me.
Nom, nom.
Like I told one of the salesmen today, I was like, hey, bite me. And he goes, why would I want to do that? Because I'm delicious. Now, moving on. If you want to email us, you can email us dorks at themanapool.com. And is that everything? We have so many things that I can't ever remember. I guess there's the Steam group if you want to go join that. Not really doing anything with it just yet. I don't even know how to do anything with it. But hey, you can find other people who like the show and find people to play games with if you're on Steam. Why not? Go for it. Oh, and the website itself is themanapool.com, where you can go to find the entire archive of Manapool podcasts. Ha ha! I know I was missing something, damn it. And of course, if you want to help support what I do with all of this ridiculous amount of content, 2 podcasts a week, and then streams and YouTube videos whenever humanly possible, then you can go to patreon.com/themanapool and check that out, because every little bit helps, and I really do appreciate it. You can get YouTube videos and Manapool episodes early, if you want. You can get that and get the odds and ends, which is all the stuff that's not part of the show that's recorded before and after both Monday Night Magic and the Manapool, that's uncensored and unfiltered, except in the case of serious personal information, which I edit out. Like the time Dirk told us where his new house was. Let me just delete that. There we go. That's gone. So yeah, that's a place just to, it's not really content, so I don't feel bad putting it behind a paywall. It's just us being more of us. We talk about things that are going on in life, other things we're interested in. Mike and I talk about Hearthstone. Bill and I talk about Overwatch. If Brian is ever here during the odds and ends, after the show, we talk about Heroes of the Storm, which we talked about some. He was actually playing a game before we started. Clues posts cute pictures of cats and bunnies and hilarious things he finds on the internet. And sometimes we laugh hysterically for just minutes on end. If you really want to get Clues, just tweet the words "too many feelings" at him, and you will just make his day. So, yeah, all of these things, that's just what you get in the odds and ends. And if you would like to be even more generous, you can get the early stuff, the odds and ends, and get your name on the end slate for all the videos that go up in every month that you support at that tier. So yay, I appreciate it very much. And I am trying real hard. If the odds and ends sound interesting to you, by the way, I'm trying real hard to get caught up. I'm 3 months behind at this point, maybe 4. So I'm trying real hard to get caught up. So there will be a steady stream of odds and ends coming out over the next month or so. If that sounds interesting to you, now's a good time to try it out. Yay. And yeah, that's that. So I guess we'll be done. So I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion of a Magic MMO and other ways that Magic has been expanding the brand and why nerds suck. Some nerds, not all nerds. Our listeners wouldn't do that sort of thing because our listeners are awesome. Right, Mike?
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm going to shut up now. So this has been episode, I forget what, of the Manapool. Is it 4? No, wait. Yeah, 466. Yes. Got there. So thank you all so very much for listening, and go play some Magic. Or some Chandelar. Or Duels. Or hey, even Battlegrounds if you're feeling silly.